There are so many informational websites here in Costa Rica: Tico Times, AM Costa Rica, the Costa Rica News, Q Costa Rica. There's at least 5 or 6 more, and most of you who have been gathering information on Costa Rica probably know a lot more than I do. However, what I like to do sometimes is just go through a lot of the websites and take some of the cream of the crop articles and just share them with you, because Costa Rica, as you know, is just a wonderful place, and I want to share all the good news that I can. But I came across an article: Costa Rica has 54 species of hummingbirds, and this is the most flower pollinating bird in the world. I did not know that. Costa Rica has the privilege of being one of the countries on the continent where there are more hummingbird species, with 54 that adapt to the different climates and territories of the country. It is considered the bird that contributes the most to flower pollination. Hummingbirds belong to the order Apatiformes, I know that's not pronounced properly, and to the family Trochilidae. They are birds that are characterized by their small size, ranging from 5 to 20 centimeters, and there are about 330 species of hummingbirds from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego in South America. But most of them are concentrated in the tropics. So Costa Rica has 54 of the 330 species. Hummingbirds, as you know, have a long beak that allows them to feed on flowers. When one of these birds inserts its beak into a flower to drink the nectar, sticky pollen clings to the sides of the beak, and when they visit the next flower, some pollen particles are transferred, and if both flowers are of the same species, the pollination process occurs, which is very necessary to preserve biodiversity. These birds can visit more than 1,000 flowers in a single day in search of food, and can eat up to 60 times a day to replenish the energy they use during their flight. The hummingbird can give up to 80 flaps per second in the smallest species. Their wings allow them to float in the air, the same forwards, backwards, up, down, and even upside down, being the only bird in the world with the ability to fly backwards. And what I didn't know, these birds cannot walk. Due to their ability to fly, they can easily elude predators, sometimes even facing larger birds. While defending their young, there are reports of hummingbirds clashing with eagles. Hummingbirds know how to detect various fragrances, colors, and types of flowers that help them to overcome in certain circumstances. Their tongue and beak of these birds are specially adapted to feeding on flowers. Their tongues are shaped like a W to help them sip nectar, and their long beaks allow them to easily obtain this. The smallest of them is the bee hummingbird, whose body does not exceed the volume of a bumblebee. Could you imagine that? The hummingbird lives in Cuba, and its total length from the edge of the tail to the tip of its very long beak does not reach 5 centimeters. We don't have any of those in Costa Rica, and even if we did, they're so small you couldn't see them. But anyway, lots of good information on all these informational websites, and if you're interested in the hummingbirds of Costa Rica, be sure to take some time today and just simply Google Hummingbirds of Costa Rica. As always, we thank you so much for listening, and we invite you to listen to our other 600 plus episodes of our Costa Rica Pura Vida Lifestyle podcast series. We invite you to get caught up with all of our episodes. We cover all topics about Costa Rica. We keep them short, usually under about 7 minutes long. We can be found on all major podcast venues: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio FM, Anchor, and the Apple and the Google podcast platforms. I've added a link to our Costa Rica Immigration and Moving Experts website. If you are considering a move to Costa Rica and want some additional information about how to start the process, we have over 20 years of experience. Be sure to check us out when your interest arises. That's Costa Rica Immigration and Moving Experts website. Thanks again. We'll see you here tomorrow, and we do this 7 days a week. We never miss a day. So much good news coming out of Costa Rica, and so many things to learn and to talk about that we simply want to share them every day with you. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow, same time.